Yo, what's good, guys? Inswain with Inswain Audio. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, man, where have you been? We missed you. Make sure to subscribe and join the family. Welcome. I drop tutorials just like this every single day, so make sure to stick around for that. Anyways, today, what we're going to be talking about is the best FabFilter plugins for mixing and mastering. And honestly, they're all pretty good, but I'll tell you some of my favorite. Let's go check it out. All right, first I'm going to play you a little clip of the song I got pulled up here. It's not mixed yet at all, but I'll just play it to you so you can hear what we're working with before we start throwing some plugins on it.
Your chances ain't good, but you're smiling. If I had your strength, maybe I'd see the lining. It takes a whole lot just to hang on.
Okay, cool. A little taste of what we're working with. So, the first plugin I want to talk about that's just great from FabFilter is the Pro C2, their compressor. So let me pull this up right here. This thing is just an absolute workhorse. It's very good on anything. It's one of those compressors that excels in every area. You can use it on that vocal instrument, background vocals. You could even use it on your mix bus if you really wanted. It's really good because it has different styles you can choose from. You can do clean, classic. You can do optical compression. There's even vocal mastering, bus, punch, pumping, right? All these different types of compression curves and knees and settings and things going on under the hood. So it's really versatile. But what I personally like it for is for two things. One, I like to use it as a clean, transparent compressor because I have tons of other plugins that do analog emulation and they're great for that. But when I want something that's just clean, straightforward compression with nothing else, the Pro C2 is a great one to reach for. And another reason I like it so much is the visual information that it provides you. It's just insane. You can visualize what the threshold looks like, what the ratio looks like, the knee. You can really learn compression really well with this compressor. So that's why I would recommend it, and I do recommend it to a lot of beginners because it's really hard to hear compression and the settings in a compressor, and to explain it just kind of sounds like this esoteric nebulous thing that no one understands, and I get it. So something like this compressor can really help to visualize it and see how it's affecting your audio and the waveform in real time. So it's nice for that. But beyond that, it just has everything you would need in a compression. It has a sidechain filter with a EQ on it. Of course, threshold, ratio, attack, release. It has auto gain, a mix knob. It's just really just a workhorse. There's not really much else to say about it. All right, moving on. Next FabFilter plugin that I really like is the Pro DS, the de-esser. Now, FabFilter is a highly regarded company, right? And I'm sure there's some plugins that you're going to expect that I'm going to mention coming up, and I probably am. But the DS is one that I feel doesn't get enough love. This is one of my favorite FabFilter plugins, and I don't hear much talk about it. I've never heard anything bad about it, but it's just crazy. Oversampling 2 times and 4 times is really great. Once again, the visual, this is going to be a reoccurring theme with all these FabFilter plugins, is the visual information that you get is just top tier. It has a nice, what do they call this, audition button, so you can hear what you're de-essing, the kind of like the delta signal. You can choose the range you're de-essing, or you can use the single vocal setting, which kind of detects it for you and disregards this. So, both can be good. You can use it nice and fast, or you can really dial it in. It has a look ahead function that goes up to 15 milliseconds, which is just absolutely amazing. Split band and wide band. An external side chain if you really want to use that. I personally really don't ever use that, but yeah. Really though, that's it. It's nice, simple, straightforward, easy to use, quick to dial in, and it sounds good. And that's really all you want and all you would ever need out of a de-esser. So love this one. All right, and moving on, the next plugin that we got here, I'm going to put it on the master bus because we are going to look at the Pro L2. That's right, the limiter. This is my go-to limiter, pretty much the only limiter I use for mastering. I don't use limiters all that much in mixing, but if I were to, this is the one I'm reaching for. Pro L2, man, what do I even say? The fact that it has all these different styles that use different algorithms of limiting is what sets it apart from the competition, in my opinion. They all sound different, they all sound good, and they all have their place. I found myself using transparent, punchy, and modern mostly, but you never know. It's got a look ahead function. Attack and release are a little funky in how they function. They're not exactly what you would think, so got to read into that, but it's not that they sound bad. It has channel linking for the transients, the release, dithering, oversampling. It comes with true peak limiting. It's got a 1-to-1 unity gain so that you can level match in real time. You can hear just, the delta signal of what's being processed. Really everything you would need out of a limiter. And guess what? Once again, the visual information it provides is just great. So let's hear what that sounds like real quick. Just kind of dial something in.
Your chances ain't good, but you're smiling. If I had your strength, maybe I'd see the lining. It takes all I have just to hang on. And I've lost count of these trips we've made.
And the song's not mixed, so it's not going to sound the best while limiting, but trust me, this thing is great. I'll show you the unity gain function so you can hear what that sounds like. So no matter what I do or how much limiting I get, it's going to be level matched.
Your chances ain't good, but you're smiling. If I had your strength, maybe I'd see the lining. It takes all.
So you can see, I was absolutely slamming it and it didn't get louder, which is good for when you're dialing in your settings because the level jump can really screw up how you're hearing things, and you might make decisions that you wouldn't normally make. So when you use this to dial in the settings, chef's kiss. I'll also show you this right here, which is the audition mode. So you hear just what's being limited, so you can hear that distortion.
Your chances ain't good.
So that can be really nice. You can hear what peaks you're catching, right? Like typically you might hear like the kick and the snare, and you could hear if you're getting more than that. You can basically hear the transients that you're limiting, which can be useful for many things. Just a really nice, clean limiter that sounds really good on so far everything I've used it on. So I love this one. All right, moving on to another sleeper here. We have the Pro MB, the multi-band compressor. Don't hear too much about this one, but man, it's great. It looks like the Pro Q3. I like how all the plugins are very consistent. So if you use one and you're used to it, you'll be able to pick up another one really fast. I really like that. It just clicks in my brain really well. Love FabFilter. But yeah, it's just a multi-band compressor. But when I say just, I really mean it has all the bells and whistles you would need. You could do multiple bands, obviously. Really clean UI. Within each band, you got your threshold. You got a range, which is nice. Most don't have that. Attack, release, output. You got look ahead. You can choose your knee, your ratio. You can even change it into an expansion mode, so you can do some expansion. There's oversampling, which I didn't even know until I'm looking at that right now. Really nice. It's got the analyzer modes, sort of like the Pro Q3. It has what's nice is there is a mix knob, which is really interesting, and you can go beyond 100%. You can do 200%, which I believe is just increasing the effect of the plugin. Really unique and nice. I like to use the mix knob a little bit. It can sound really nice. Move the bands. Just the visual representation is really good. You can solo the bands. You can mute the bands. Not much else to say. You can bypass individual bands. Just a really good sounding and good multi-band compression. And what I like it for is when you really want to get hands-on and you really have problems you need to tackle in terms of frequency and dynamics. You can really get hands-on and fine-tune things with this multi-band compressor more so than most others that I have. So yeah, just a multi-band compressor that sounds really good. I'll show you. I'll kind of dial something in real quick here on this vocal.
Your chances ain't good, but you're smiling. If I had your strength, maybe I'd see the lining. It takes all I have just to hang on. And I've lost count of these trips we've made, and I hate that the doctors all know my first name, but they're buying time. Your chances ain't good, but but you're smiling. If I had your strength, maybe I'd see the lining. It takes all I have.
So yeah, just messing around with it, you can see the gain reduction we're getting in the yellow line. It's kind of like the Pro Q3. Just really, really good and neat in terms of the visual aspect of it. So love that. All right, speaking of the Pro Q3, you knew it was on here. You knew it was coming. You probably have it. If not, that's okay too. But this one right here, this is like their holy grail, their most famous plugin, if I had to guess. Might even be one of the most famous plugins, period, of all companies. But yeah, this is their parametric EQ. Don't really know what to say about it. It's just a clean, transparent parametric EQ with, you know, you can do any shape you want. We got, let's see, we have bells, shelves, high cuts and low cuts, notches, bandpass filters, a tilt shelf, flat tilt. I've never used that in my life. But yeah, you can choose the slope. You can solo bands and listen to them, which is really good for learning EQ. Visual information is there. You can pause it and freeze it and grab points and add EQs. Really could be useful. If you have multiple instances of Pro Q3, like let's say we have one on the backing vocal and one on the lead vocal, you can choose the analyzer to show like an overlay.
You know, your chances ain't good, but you're smiling.
On a section where they're both playing here.
Up just to do again.
So you can see they have both
So we'll
EQs
take the
overlaid,
load.
and it'll show you vertical lines, red hotspots where there might be frequency masking or frequency overlap. So that can be really nice. What else? I mean, there's dynamic EQ.
Long way home, and baby, we'll take it.
And what's nice is you can compress or expand with the dynamic EQ regardless of if you're boosting or cutting. So we can boost and then boost more, or we can boost and cut, or we can cut and cut more, or cut and boost. Anything in between. Really nice. You know, of course, you can adjust the Q factor and the frequency. And we're really just scratching the surface here. You can zoom in on the scaling or you can zoom out. It's just amazing. Sounds good, and it's super clean and quick to use. And I think that's why it's got the reputation that it does. All right, and the last plugin we're going to talk about today is one of my personal favorites. And this one definitely has a good rep. And that is Saturn 2, the saturation plugin. I am not even going to be able to do this plugin a justice. I believe Dan Worrall has videos on this. They might even be on the FabFilter official channel. I can't remember, but I know it was him doing the voiceover, where there's like music playing in the background and it was all sound designed in Saturn 2. I don't do sound design. That's way above my head. I do mixing. And even still, I don't even tap into like 2% of what this can do. It's a saturator, but it's a multi-band saturator, and that's the main thing that most people like about it. You can adjust the drive, the dynamics, you know, the mix knob, what type of saturation, all independently for each band. And you can adjust the gain of each band. And also within each band, you have 4 EQ knobs for the 4. You know, think about if you took each band and then divided that into 4 equal sections, you have an EQ knob for that. So you can see you can get really hands-on. You know, we have, I believe this is oversampling, bypass, mix knob for the whole global. We also have mix knobs for individual bands. Within that, we have, you know, 4 different types of tube saturation, tape saturation, amp simulation, general saturation, transformers, effects. The presets in it are just insane. This is super powerful, and you can do modulation, sound design, LFO, add a MIDI source. This stuff right here I never mess with, but this is where you can get really crazy.
It's slow, even if all I'm buying is 5 more minutes with you.
And what I really like is the dynamic function of each knob, is you can add compression in it so that you can drive into the saturation unit for that given band at an equal level, right? Think if you compress it first and then drive it, all that signal is getting saturated equally, where if you leave it uncompressed and dynamic, the peaks are going to get saturated more. So you can decide how you want to do that. So I'll show you that.
Ooh. We'll take the long way home. I can't stand to let you.
So obviously sounds really funky when you drive it like that, but that's just to show you the power of this thing is insane. I don't even know where to begin. Hopefully I at least showed you how little I know about it so that it just really drives home how crazy this plugin can be. I don't use it for most of that. I just like to do a little saturation, and I like that you can do multi-band, so I could saturate like my low mids and my upper mids a little differently and really get the tone that I want out of the vocal and really tone shape it. I like it for vocals. It sounds good on bass guitar too. Use it on drums sometimes, not necessarily in multi-band as much. Yeah, sounds great. I use it on my mix bus a lot too. Not usually multi-band, but it can sound really good just at the most subtle drive, like 0% drive, and then just adjust the mix knob just for a little saturation. It just opens up your mix, lets it breathe, and brings it to life. So sounds amazing for that. Anyways, guys, these are, in my opinion, the best FabFilter plugins. One that I didn't mention is the reverb because I don't have it. But I'm sure if I did, I would love it. I've heard good things about it. It's on my wish list. Maybe one day. We'll see. Let me know down in the comments if you have any of these, if you like them, if you're thinking about getting them. This isn't sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I have no affiliation with FabFilter. That would be nice, but I don't. Anyways, guys, hope you got something from this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, and name your firstborn child after me because the algorithm is looking for that stuff. I don't make the rules, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.